All right, we're live.
Thank you very much. All right, everyone. Welcome back after lunch. It is about 1:15. We are doing a walkthrough on the reports repeal project. It is posted with a draft number on our legislative page under council's name, Tucker Anderson. And with us is Tucker Anderson, President, Office of Legislative Counsel, as it says on my sheet.
Excellent to know that I am a resident. Good afternoon, Tucker Anderson, Legislative Counsel. You should have in front of you draft request number 251019, draft 1.1, which is the draft of the committee's reports repeal bill. The bill is broken out into three major sections. First, those reporting requirements that are being repealed. Second, those reporting requirements that are being extended 4 years to a reports repeal review in 2030. And finally, those reports that have been deemed so imperative and important that they should be permanently required and are exempted from further review. So we will start on page 1. And what I will do is first note the action that's being taken, and I will highlight for you what the report is. If you have specific questions about the substantive underlying material in the reports, I'm happy to come back or bring in an attorney who has worked on this in the past. He can provide you with more context and detail. So in section 1, these are reports from the Chief Performance Officer. And these are the genuine progress indicators. This was proposed for repeal by this committee. Moving on to page 2 in section 2, this repeals a report from DHR concerning the use of temporary employees. On page 3, in section 3, and moving on to page 4, this repeals a report from the Vermont Dairy Promotion Council. Page 4, moving into page 5, in section 4, we actually move all the way into page 6 and 7. This is a report on the performance of agencies under the Clean Water Act. Section 5, this repeals an annual report from the Technical Advisory Committee concerning potable water supply and wastewater permits that are issued under that chapter in Title 10. On page 8 in section 6, this repeals an annual report by the State Education Board. This is their annual report. In section 7 on page 9, this repeals the pre-K report from DCF in the Agency of Education. Page 10, section 8. This strikes the requirement that the Attorney General send a report to the General Assembly containing prescription drug cost data. That data will still be reported to the Green Mountain Care Board and posted on the websites of the Green Mountain Care Board and the Attorney General. It will just no longer be a legislative report. Page 11, section 9. This repeals a report from the Department of Corrections concerning community placements. And for background, that is offender reintegration reports. Section 10 on the same page. This repeals reports from DCF and the Department of Mental Health on the coordinated system of care. Page 12, section 11. This repeals a report that was required by a 2010 piece of session law concerning the Vermont Crime Information Center's capital improvements, which for some reason was required to be an annual report in the language of that budget bill. All right, now we're going to move into listed repeals. These are sections of law that are being repealed in their entirety or subsections that are being repealed in their entirety. And I'll go through the list because there's detail about each report in the list. Okay, first, for VSA Section 40, Judiciary Report on the Use of Temporary Employees. 6 VSA 4825, a report concerning activities in support of water quality, financial, and technical assistance. 2007, Act number 65, Section 112A, Subdivision B2A, a report on the utilization of services and expenses under Choices for Care. 2008, Act 192, Section 5.221, subsection B, report on the use of appropriations for household weatherization. 2011, Act 59, Section 11, report on Superior Court public records cases. That was a recommendation from this committee for repeal. 2012, Act 113, Section 3, report on genuine progress indicator. This is separate from the GPA repeal that I noted earlier. 2015, Act 58, Section C106, Vermont Health Connect monthly reports. 2014, Act 179, Section E100.5, sub G, a report on resources made available from the Vermont Enterprise Fund. We're on page 14. 2014, Act 195, Sections 3, sub F, and 4, sub B. Two different reports being repealed here. These are reports that evaluate goals and performance of pretrial services, and then in that section 4, pre-charge programs. 2013, Act 68, Section 3, a report on concussions suffered by student athletes. 2018, Act 119, Section 8, reports on various licenses issued to service members and veterans. If you remember, there were 4 different categories. The General Assembly was supposed to be receiving reports from 4 different agencies concerning those licenses and permits. They're all repealed. Right. 2018, Act 174, Section 1, Subdivision C2, auditor reports that are filed if a privatization contract has not achieved the required cost savings or complied with required performance measures. This was a contingent reporting requirement that was enduring in time and recommended for repeal. 2019, Act 79, Section 10, sub B, report on the status of the Broadband Innovation Grant Program.
Any questions from the committee at that point?
Under the reader assistance heading for the extension until 2030 review.
1 second. Rep. Hooper, was that a question?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. Again, the function of this previous section is to reduce or eliminate the reporting to us, not eliminate the need for the report.
It eliminates the reporting requirement. It doesn't eliminate the collection of any of the data or information. And it also does not restrain the General Assembly or the committees from asking for this information in the future. So you can always request that the agencies provide this information directly without having an enduring reporting requirement.
Well, the one on page 13, 12, 1. Last year, we tried to get information in the judiciary on how much.
Hold on, where are you, Bob?
Page 13.
Yeah.
Section 12, number 1. First one.
The judiciary?
The judiciary report on temporary employees. I remember the judiciary person sitting here and us asking her about us being their use of temporaries, and they said, you know, we're not using temporaries at this point. I know about newspaper article that said they were using all kinds of temporary. I don't think we've ever gotten a straight answer out of them. And I don't know that I remember this necessarily seeing this report, but I don't think we should take it off the list if we're having it. This is a matter of statute, right?
Mm-hmm.
The number of, not the report, but the number of employees that are being used in a temporary capacity and their duration is something that's in contract and statute, I think.
Not in my bailiwick, so I'd have to check with Sophie Zadatny to find out if that's true, that it is in fact set in statute, a cap on the number of temporary employees that may be used.
So raise 5.
Okay, I guess we should double check on that one and could there also possibly be like a duplicative reporting requirement? Perhaps, like,
Possibly.
yeah.
All right, under the extension, I'll work through these. So these are kicked out till 2030. Subdivision 1, a report on racial disparities in the criminal and juvenile justice system advisory panel. It's their report and recommendations. State Ethics Commission reports concerning complaints, guidance, training, and recommendations. Moving into page 15. Sub 3. VITA report concerning broadband expansion loan program activities. Rural Economic Development Initiative reports. ANR reports concerning income generated through lease of mountaintop communication sites. The Defender General's annual report. Sub 7. Public safety report concerning sex offender registry compliance. The EMS Advisory Committee report concerning progress toward goals of the 5-year plan.
Representative?
Having just read this report, Tucker, did that recommendation come from us? Or did it come from the healthcare committee? Do you recall?
I will have to go back and check
Someone else.
about where that came from. Looking at all of the sheets I received except for yours were delivered physical copies. So I have to go back and take a look at the surveys.
Thank you. I'm curious whether we advised to. Maybe Rep. Nugent has the answer to that.
And to clarify, in order for a report to be in this section or in the next section that deals with permanent requirement for a report, the committee had to respond asking for that
Oh,
because the default is repeal.
okay. I'm good with this because the advisory committee is only tasked with meeting like another 2 or so years. So this is good. This is within the 4-year time frame. I'm good. Thank you. You do not have to research this.
Okay. In subdivision 9, the VCJC report concerning fair and impartial policies and training. Subdivision 10, public safety report on drone use. Subdivision 11, the quadrennial analysis of recommendations and conclusions of the tax increment financing capacity study and report.
Quadrennial?
Every 4 years.
3-4 years.
Every 4 years. And this involves JFO as part of the review.
Gotcha.
Subdivision 12, BGS Property Management Revolving Fund Annual Report. Finally, in subdivision 13, BEPC report concerning the Vermont Employment Growth Incentive Program. So the BEPC report on veggie.
Well,
Okay, we are now going to get into those reports that are exempted and will be permanently required, and I'll give you as much background as I can on what is happening in each of these sections. Section 14, this adds a new subsection D to 3 VSA 3902. This is the statute that creates and governs the Office of Economic Opportunity. This report is required by session law, and the House Committee on Appropriations asked for this to be permanently required. It has to live in statute if it's going to be permanently required and not just sit aloof and out there in session law. So here it is. The Office of Economic Opportunity, as part of their budget testimony, shall report on appropriations utilizing existing resources within state government available in the office's weatherization data management system. Okay, and then all the criteria that follow are data points that are required to be reported to those. Page 17 in section 15. We clearly have some cleanup to do here. In section 15, 4 VSA section 40, this is a report on temporary employees from the judiciary, specifically from the court administrator. So there you go, made permanent under this section. And we'll do some cleanup to make sure that we haven't repealed and permanently required.
Oh, so that's a 2-step process.
and that answers Rep. Hooper's inquiry. Great.
I had a question on number 12 too, might get to.
Okay. In section 16, this is also within the court statutes. This requires permanently a report from the retention committee to the General Assembly on its recommendation whether candidates should continue to stay in office due to short tenure. Section 17 in Title VI, the Vermont Farm and Forest Viability Program permanently requires a report that is due to the Senate committees on Ag and Economic Development and the House committees on Ag and Commerce and Development concerning the Forest Viability Program. In Section 18, still in Title VI, these are annual reports due from the Secretary of Ag. Okay. On page 19, in Section 19, the Treasurer's Local Investment Advisory Committee did some cleanup to the name of this committee in statute, and then permanently required that advisory committee report. Section 20, we're in Title 10. The Vermont Training Program permanently requires the report concerning that program that is due to House Commerce, Senate Commerce. Page 20 in Section 21. Still some cleanup to do. Permanently requires a report concerning the income from the lease of mountaintop communication sites. And this will now only be due to Senate Natural Resources and House Energy and Digital Infrastructure. Noting a technical correction that I spotted myself. Section 22. Still in Title 10. Reports to the General Assembly concerning petitions for facilities that are governed by a chapter that I'll have to look up later. But it will be in the survey list that I sent to the committee. Okay, in Section 23, we're in Title 32, the Retirement Funds Integrity Report, permanently required. Section 24 permanently requires an annual report on special funds created in the prior year. The last section is the effective date. I have a little technical cleanup to do for the committee. If there are any questions that I can answer now, I'm happy to do so.
Rep. Huber, then Hango.
So, two, I think, back in the first section, 12 was the auditor's report on privatization contracts and
Section. Was it section 12 or page 12?
it's back in the original page 13, I think.
Page 13?
After the
Fields, section 12.
It will be subdivision 12 in section 12 on page 14, line 7.
Thank you, sir.
2018 Act 174, Section 1, Subdivision C2.
yes. So that now is required. Why?
The report is sent to the General Assembly, and it is contingent on a finding that the privatization contract has not achieved the required cost savings.
So implicit in that is a directive that the auditor is doing that kind of comparison on an annual basis.
Right, part of a separate program and review conducted by the auditor.
And there was another, but until I find it, somebody else can go.
Representative Hango.
My question was the ones that are permanently in statute now or that are in its bill to become permanently in statute. Do we have that option for any other reports that we reviewed?
Yes,
I'm sorry,
and there are a few in there that were checked off as being so important that they.
okay, thank you. That was something that just went right by me. Or I don't remember that it was an option.
So my second one was the report about the mountaintop towers goes to not to budget, not to. So money that's coming in
Under-
gets reported to somebody.
Even under current statute, it goes to the natural resources and energy committees in the House and Senate.
Rep. Nugent?
As far as process goes now, does this bill go to the other committees that have reports on here so they can double check it as well, or is fly by as or?
Goes to the floor traditionally. And that's their opportunity to take a look and determine whether they want to ask for possession or just let it fly.
Who gets to be a lovely presenter of this?
Representative Nugent.
So, I mean, many notices were sent. Homework was remitted by some, if not most. So there was no shortage of communication to committees of jurisdiction throughout this process. This started last year.
We did our due diligence.
Anything else for council on this one? So sounds like just tightening up some of the language here. And then we'll be able to review a final next week.
Yes, so making sure that all of the sections conform with each other and that we're not repealing something that is also being permanently required.
Understood. All right. Well, first of all, thank you so much to council for this legwork. I know that this was a tremendous amount of workload getting this organized. So I want to say that out loud and on the record. Thank you. And it's nice to see this longstanding project that has not been attended to for multiple biennium being attended to. So, you know, as I stated in the past with this is very much in our government accountability vein and focus. This one, it was not glitzy, but like cleaning up old reports or figuring out the ones that should remain or not remain is vitally important. So good work, everyone. And we'll get this thing tightened up and out the door very soon. And with that, our next scheduled order of business is 145, which is H514, procedures governing the change of a minor's legal name. And that's an introduction walkthrough and a little witness testimony. That'll be our final order of business for the week. So until 10 minutes from now, we will go offline.